Hi everyone, I'm Gemma from King Thing Marketing, and today I'm going to be taking you through a presentation on how to drive traffic to your website. The 4 topics that we're going to cover off on is an introduction, so is your website actually ready for some traffic? SEO, what is it and how does it work? Driving traffic through social media and paid advertising, and is it worth it for you? To kick off, we're going to talk about your website and if it is ready for that traffic. Your website is the hub of all your online activity. It's your own piece of property in the digital landscape. A good website reflects the business brand. It makes it clear how to buy the product, makes money for the owner, which is really important. It's found on a Google search, it works well on a mobile phone, and it's really easy to use. In other words, here's what not to do. This website is really quite cluttered, there's no clear call to action, and there's a lot going on. Luckily, they've fixed it and it's a lot easier on the eye, and it's quite obvious where they need to put their information in now. The first thing you need to do is to do a rate on your own website. Does it achieve your objectives? Does it reflect your brand? Does it have strong calls to action? Does it appeal to your target audience? Where is the return on investment? Can it be found in search results? Does it work on mobile? And can this all be measured? All of these questions can seem quite daunting to start with, but after this presentation, you should be able to answer all of these questions for yourself. We're going to talk a little bit about Google, which is king in the search world. There is 3.5 billion searches on Google per day, and really it's majority rules, so we need to make Google happy with our website. It needs to be mobile responsive. So you can see here that the desktop version of the Digital Ready website is quite mobile responsive. So when someone's viewing it on their phone, it looks and works the same as it would on a desktop. Google is now indexing sites through the mobile version and not the desktop version. So you really should be taking a mobile first approach to all of your website. Over half of all searches are done on mobile. 67% of customers admit to digital window shopping, with 77% of those making impulse purchases when they do. If this is the case, you really want to make sure that your mobile version of your site is set up so that people can make these decisions and purchase through their phone. Again, search engines penalise sites if they are not mobile friendly, so you really need to make sure that you have the tools set up to check that yours is. Page speed is a really important factor with getting people to your site and also keeping them happy once they're there. 60% of people leave if it doesn't load within 3 seconds, so you really want to make sure that you have something in front of them in that time frame. HTTP versus HTTPS. The difference here is just a security certificate. Your site really needs to have a security certificate which shows up on your browser as being secure. If you don't have this, Google recognises that the site might not be safe for people to put their information or their credit cards into. And also it doesn't look great from the user point of view, who doesn't want to give over their information through a site that isn't secure. It varies from platform to platform on how you actually get an SSL certificate. So do a bit of a search to see if it's WordPress. You may need to get a plugin or do it at the domain level. And if that sounds like gobbledygook, there is a For Dummies website that you can search for, or get in touch with a digital coach. A lot of the templated based websites actually have them inbuilt. So have a look at what your CMS, content management system, is, and it should be able to give you an answer. Google Analytics is another great tool for you to check how your website is going. It can tell you what traffic you're getting to your site, what they're doing once they're there, and how quality these people are. Are they from Russia and nowhere near your business, or are they actually local? If you set up Google Analytics, once you know what you're looking for, it can be really hard to try and get any accurate information from the data you've got. If you've set it up 6 months beforehand and now you're ready to have a look at it, you're going to be able to draw some better conclusions from that. For argument's sake, usually take 12 months worth of data to balance out any seasonalities. The Google Search Console is another great tool that you should set up for your website. Here you can see what the search queries are when people are looking at your site, and you can also see what traffic's coming from desktop, mobile. You can submit a sitemap, which is just you telling Google, these are the pages that are on my site, and these are the pages that I want you to trawl from an SEO perspective. And we'll be talking about SEO in a little while. Google My Business is another great tool that you should be setting up for your business. It looks a little like that panel on the right-hand side. You probably have one already, and you may have set it up yourself, or you may not have. If there's one there and you haven't set it up, you can click that Claim My Business button, which is a little hyperlink down there. Through that, you start going through the process of claiming it, which is where you can start to control what goes into that panel. Making sure that the website URL is correct is really important. Also updating any images, business information, or anything else that will help your customers, such as services or products. This is a great thing not only to help your customer, but also from an SEO perspective. Google really likes active people on their products. So the more we use, the more they're going to reward us. SEO, what is it and how does it work? SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, and all it means is just making our website work well with the search engines. By improving your website's visibility through a search engine, you are optimizing your website. It's just helping your website get in front of your customers easier. We should care about SEO because 89% of customers begin their buying purchase with a search engine. Over half of website visits are driven by organic search. And if you have a website without SEO, it's a lot harder to be found. By knowing where to put certain key terms and making sure that your website is fast and has all the other features of an optimized website can help you get in front of those customers. How do search engines work? I've got a video here that will explain a lot better than I could about how search engines work, so we'll play that now.
Hi, my name's John. I lead the search and machine learning teams at Google. Well, I think it's amazingly inspiring that people all over the world turn to search engines to ask trivial questions and incredibly important questions. So it's a huge responsibility to give them the best answers that we can.
Hi, my name is Akshaya, and I work on the Bing search team. There are many times where we'll start looking into artificial intelligence and machine learning, but we have to address how are the users going to use this? Because end of the day, we want to make an impact to society. Let's ask a simple question. How long does it take to travel to Mars? Where did these results come from? And why was this listed before the other one?
Okay, let's dive in and see how the search engine turned your request into a result. The first thing you need to know is that when you do a search, the search engine isn't actually going out to the World Wide Web to run your search in real time. And that's because there's over 1 billion websites on the internet and hundreds more are being created every single minute. So if the search engine had to look through every single site to find the one you wanted, it would just take forever. So to make your search faster, search engines are constantly scanning the web in advance to record the information that might help with your search later. That way, when you search about travel to Mars, the search engine already has what it needs to give you an answer in real time.
Here's how it works. The internet is a web of pages connected to each other by hyperlinks. Search engines are constantly running a program called a spider that crawls through these web pages to collect information about them. Each time it finds a hyperlink, it follows it until it has visited every page it can find on the entire internet. For each page the spider visits, it records any information it might need for a search by adding it to a special database called a search index.
Now, let's go back to that search from earlier and see if we can figure out how the search engine came up with the results. When you ask, how long does it take to travel to Mars, the search engine looks in each of those words in the search index to immediately get a list of all the pages on the internet containing those words. But just looking for these search terms could return millions of pages, so the search engine needs to be able to determine the best matches to show you first. This is where it gets tricky, because the search engine may need to guess what you're looking for.
Each search engine uses its own algorithm to rank the pages based on what it thinks you want. The search engine's ranking algorithm might check if your search term shows up in the page title. It might check if all of the words show up next to each other, or any number of other calculations that help it better determine which pages you'll want to see and which you won't.
Google invented the most famous algorithm for choosing the most relevant results for a search by taking into account how many other web pages link to a given page. The idea is that if lots of websites think that a web page is interesting, then it's probably the one you're looking for. This algorithm is called PageRank, not because it ranks web pages, but because it was named after its inventor, Larry Page, who's one of the founders of Google.
Because a website often makes money when you visit it, spammers are constantly trying to find ways to game the search algorithm so that their pages are listed higher in the results. Search engines regularly update their algorithms to prevent fake or untrustworthy sites from reaching the top. Ultimately, it's up to you to keep an eye out for these pages that are untrustworthy by looking at the web address and making sure it's a reliable source.
Search programs are always evolving to improve the algorithms so that they return better results, faster results than their competitors. Today's search engines even use information that you haven't explicitly provided to help you narrow down your search. So for example, if you did a search for dog parks, many search engines would give you results for all the dog parks nearby, even though you didn't type in your location.
Modern search engines also understand more than just the words on a page, but what they actually mean in order to find the best one that matches what you're looking for. For example, if you search for fast picture, it will know you're looking for an athlete. But if you search for large picture, it will find you options for your kitchen.
To understand the words better, we use something called machine learning, a type of artificial intelligence. It enables search algorithms to search out not just individual letters or words in the page, but understand the underlying meaning of the words.
The internet is growing exponentially, but if the teams that design search engines do our jobs right, the information you want should always be just a few keystrokes away.
On-page versus off-page optimization. On-page SEO is the sort of things that you can control within your own website. We'll go around the circle and have a chat about what the sort of things are that you can do. Keyword selection is where we start. So we're always doing some keyword research using the tools that we'll talk about towards the end of the presentation on how you can search for keywords that are being looked at, that are searched often enough to be relevant, but not so much that it's going to be really competitive and hard for you to rank for. We're trying to find keywords that have a nice balance of being searched often enough and being relevant for your target audience, but not making it impossible for you to rank for. For example, a keyword like accommodation Tasmania may be quite hard to rank for. If you can get more granular and say luxury accommodation Launceston, it's a lot more specific and you know that you're getting customers that are looking for your product. Meta description tags. And we'll show you in a second where that actually shows up, but it's just the grey writing underneath that blue hyperlink in a Google search. By nominating what these are, you can tell Google in a snippet, almost like your elevator pitch, what each of those pages are about. If you don't nominate anything, Google will pull that off your page, so it's not such a drama, but it just gives you an option to make it easier for you to say what you need to. Title tags are those blue hyperlinks that are above the meta description. They're just what the page is about and your business name. If you don't nominate what these are, Google will pull it off your web page, usually your heading, but it's a good idea for you to check that this is what you want it to be. The content, so that's what's actually on that page. It includes all your words and your images. Making sure that your keywords are within that content and within the copy and text on the web page is really important so that it's relevant what you are saying is actually what's on that page. The H1 tags, that's where we're talking about those headings. Your H1 is seen as the most important heading on the web page because Google sees that as, well, this is definitely what this page is about. If you haven't got one of the key terms that you need in that H1 heading, it can really affect your SEO. If you are an accommodation business, you want to make sure that accommodation Launceston is in that H1. If it's just about, that doesn't really tell Google what that page is about. You want to make sure that's optimized. Alt tags or ALT tags just stands for alternative text. Alternative text goes on the back of your images because Google can't actually understand what these pictures are about. By nominating some text to say, hey, this is a picture of a person standing in front of a lake, Google's going to understand that that's what that's about. If you include your business name and then a few keywords in there as well, that can help your page ranking. Unique content. Unique content is really important because Google and all the other search engines really hate duplicate content. They don't want people regurgitating the same stuff. So on each of your pages, while it may be tempting to copy and paste the words so you don't have to do any more, making sure that it's written differently and also value adding for your customers still. Internal links are also really important. As we talked about in that video just gone, Google spider bots trawl using links. So if you have internal links jumping about within your site, taking them to other pages on your website, that's going to help your ranking and help you get trawled. Keywords are really important. They connect the search engine users to your website. If you don't have the keywords and you haven't actually specified what your page and your website and your business is about, how are any users going to be able to find you? Keywords identify the top phrases that your target market are looking for. The search engines are smart enough with their algorithms now that they understand if you're searching for a women's fedora or a lady's hat, it's going to know that they're similar terms. So make sure that we've got these keywords for your target market in there. There are two types of keywords, short-tailed and long-tailed keywords. Exactly as they sound, the short-tailed are just the shorter keywords. The longer-tailed are the ones with more words in them. Long-tail keywords can include questions, and we know from research that people are still Googling questions. How do I XYZ? Or what do I do when blah, blah, blah? So you can actually include that in your strategy and your keyword research. If you can find out what your target market are Googling in questions, that can form part of your frequently asked questions, or it could be part of your blog strategy to help you get in front of their eyes. In a Google search, this is what the meta descriptions look like. You can see them in the grey words there, and we don't know how much they're actually going to show. Google changes all the time whether the meta descriptions are 160 characters or 60. So as long as you've got enough content in the first couple of lines that says what the page is about, that's the most important thing. In the page titles, it's a good idea to have a blend of your business name and also the page. So you can see here that people have put Handmade Natural Soap as well as their business name of the Tin Shed Soap Co. That's a good idea to make sure that you're getting both of those things in front of people. Headings on your website are really important, not only to break up your content and show the user what the pages are about, but also from a Google perspective. It goes in order of importance from 1 through to 6. So your H1 is the most important heading on your page. It tells Google this is what the page is about. Your H2 through to your H6 are all supporting statements for that page. Bearing in mind that breaking up of content, people scan, they don't really scroll through or read large chunks of information. So make sure when you're writing your content that it's all broken up into dot points or smaller paragraphs that are easy to digest. People are impatient, they don't wait, and they can't take too much information in. So make sure that the calls to action of your book now or shop now are never far from their reach. It's a tricky balance between writing lots of content, which Google really likes, lots of words, and breaking it up and keeping it small from the user. So it's a bit of a balance finding what's going to work for your website. We spoke about how important page speed is for your website so that people see something within the first 3 seconds. The size of your images is really important for this. Making sure that they're resized properly before you upload them, 1500 to 2000 pixels wide for a banner image and about 500 to 800 pixels wide for smaller pictures. And make sure they're compressed. So run them through a tool like tinypng.com to compress them, take out all that data that they don't need, and it's still going to keep the quality of the image for you. You can see here we've got a box for the alt image text on a Squarespace site. Now, depending on your content management system, it's going to be in different places, but the file name is where we put it on a Squarespace site. We spoke about the internal linking on your site, but it's not the only type of links. You can have inbound linking, which is other people linking to your site. That is the most important form of linking. Obviously, it's a lot harder to get people to talk about your website and link to you, which is why it's more valuable. If you can collaborate with other business owners or have guest features on your blogs, that's a good way to start building that up. Outbound links are also really important. So that's your website linking to other websites. If you can link to things like education or government websites, so if you're talking about walks in the area and you can link to parks and wildlife sites, that's going to count as a positive link. Government and education links are considered more credible when it comes to a Google search as well. So make sure you've got them in there if it's relevant. There are things you can do off your website to help your SEO as well. This is called off-page SEO. Your social media platforms are really important for this, for driving traffic, which is why we've got it as a topic following. Blogging can really help. So we talked about those long tail keywords and how using questions can help you get into the eyes of other people. Posting on forums like Whirlpool or other review sites can really help get some credible links as well. People submitting other articles to your site can also count. So comments or anything like that can really help your SEO too. Press releases, so any media links, if you've spoken to the Mercury or the Examiner or the Advocate, if they link to your website, that can all really help with your SEO. External review platforms, they can help link to your site. If you've set up any events in things like Eventbrite, that can help link to your website and help build some credibility for those events and for your site's SEO. PDF documents also really help with your SEO. They optimize a little bit differently, and Google does like text on your site a bit more, but PDFs and downloadable products can also help give your followers and give people on your website some extra value. Directory submissions, so things like the yellow and white pages, can also help your SEO. Aside from finding other ways to rank for your keywords, blogging can be good for many other reasons. It shows search engines that you're active on your website, that there's content that's fresh, that you're updating it, it's not old and tired information. It creates another link for your site. It creates that internal link where you can link to your about page or find out more, or here's a story about this. Some of the resources and tools that you can use to help check your SEO are things like SEO Quake. This is a website, but you can get a Chrome browser extension which does a quick little test and audit on how you're going with your linking, how your headings are going, and what you like for your text ratio as well. Again, Google likes lots of text, but people don't like it so much. So finding that balance that works for you is important. Yoast is a plugin for WordPress that can help you optimize your sites really easily with step-by-step information. There's boxes and it gives you a ranking on a traffic light system, and it tells you whether you're getting a green light or whether you have some more work to do with a red light. Web CEO is a platform we use when we're performing SEO audits, and it gives you a lot more in-depth information. So if you're keen to nerd out and get that little bit more in-depth, Web CEO is the one for you. The Digital Ready Checkup tool is another great resource for you to use for your website. It'll give you a ranking on your SEO, things that you can improve on, but also how your social media is going too. I've included a list of resources and tools that you should check out if you're looking to improve your SEO. They vary from compressing tools for your images, as well as keyword trackers and SEO audit information. Have a look, see which one you like and works for your website, and see if there's anything you can do to improve your SEO. Here's a snippet of the Digital Ready Checkup tool. Dr. Digital will help you with what you need to do to get your results. You simply paste your URL in the bar below, and she asks you some questions about what industry you're in, how many employees you have, and how many years you've been running for. If you're not sure or you don't know what to say, you can say prefer not to say. Dr. Digital will go through and will find all the links for your social profiles, and at the end, it'll give you a ranking on how you're going for SEO, accessibility, performance, and your mobile responsiveness. Under your percentage results, you'll get a report on the sorts of things you can do to fix your website. Here's the address for the checkup tool. Type this into your URL bar and you'll get taken straight there to Dr. Digital. We're going to have a chat about social media and how you can use that as a tool to drive traffic to your website. Like your website, we're going to start off by doing a social media audit, making sure all your business details are up to date and that your website is in the About section. It's going to be hard to get people to your website if we haven't actually got those links in there. Have a look at your Facebook page yourself. Then get someone else who is not an admin of your page to have a look at it too. Check that they can find your website, that the About information is clear, and that everything that they need is right there at their fingertips. You can see here in the About section, I've highlighted where the address is for your website. Make sure this is correct and that it is going to the HTTPS version of your site. It's a common mistake that people are getting sent to the not secure version of your website. This is really important so that you're not skewing your Google Analytics data and you're really improving the secure version of your site. Instagram's a little different. You can only have one URL in your Instagram bio. You can't actually link through any of your posts. A tool that you can use to have multiple links within your bio is something called Linktree. So you can see here, this guy called Gary Vee, who is a really big wig in the marketing industry, uses Linktree to take people to other areas of his site or his other social links. Some examples of where you could take people to are your new blog posts, different product categories, or contact forms. This is great because people are lazy, as we talked about, and they want things to be a click away. You may lose people through the flow of your website if they have to take 4 or 5 clicks before they get taken to the product category they're looking for. Instead of having a link like your website, you'd use something like this Linktree/Gary Vee. So let's say you want to do a Facebook post that's going to drive people to your website. We're going to step you through how you would do that. We wrote a blog article on the new Google algorithm updates. So let's say we want to do a post to drive people to this blog post. All you do is simply grab that URL from the top of your web browser. Hyperlink it, right-click and copy that link. The next step is to go to your Facebook page and paste that link. After some time, it will generate a preview to your website, as you can see below this link. Once that preview has been brought in, you can actually backspace it and it will hold that preview for you. It just tidies your post up and looks a bit neater. The next step is to write your post. Make sure you give some context. It would look a little strange if I just posted that link without having any information about what the post is. Another option is to pull in images that you want to upload yourself and then just add that hyperlink. So not actually backspace it at all. You can use other link tracking apps like Bitly, which will give you a shortened link and you can track to see how many people have clicked on that link. If you have products to sell, the Facebook Shop tab is another way that you can drive people to your site. You set this up in the settings element of your Facebook page, and you can either have people check out within the Facebook page or on your website. You can tag products within your posts, which will link through directly to your website. So the last thing we're going to talk about is paid advertising and whether it's worth it for you. There are a few options with Facebook advertising, namely boosting a post, promoting a post, or using the Facebook Ads Manager. I could talk about this, but Talura's done a whole presentation on Facebook advertising. So go to the other video resources on the Digital Ready site for Talura's presentation. You can see here on these ads that there are links to a website and they are sponsored content. So this is a way that you can see how your ads are driving traffic to your website. Social media ads are a really cost-effective way to drive some traffic to your website. You can target people that haven't even seen your business before and drive new customers to your website. You can spend something as low as $50 to get some really great results for your business. A little while ago, Facebook actually bought Instagram, so a lot of the integrations are really closely intertwined. You can see here you can tag products through your Instagram shop, which you can only do if you have a Facebook shop set up. If you want to know more about how to do this, make sure you go watch Claire's presentation on Instagram. She goes through about how to set up these shops. Through your paid advertising on Instagram, you can nominate to run ads through your Instagram stories. Here you'll get a swipeable link where people can go straight to your website from the ad. That swipe up motion or learn more is really quite intuitive for people, and we are really used to swiping and scrolling on social media. Once they swipe up, they are still on the Instagram app, but it does look a lot like your mobile version of your website. Here's an example of what it looks like for Vodafone when people swipe up on their ad. Some other features you can use to really intertwine your website and social media is the Facebook Pixel. This is a really cool tool that you can use to help retarget people that have visited your website or to get people there. The Facebook Pixel is a piece of code that you put in the back end of your website that tracks people that visit your website and the different things that they do. For example, you can track people that submit a newsletter inquiry or sign up for different events that you have, and you can retarget those people through your ads. You set up these events in the Business Manager section of Facebook. If you do a quick Google search, you'll get taken to the Facebook Blueprint, which will step you through how to set up those. The retargeting can be really powerful because people have to see your business 14 times before they recall it. So if someone's been to your website and hasn't seen you again for 30 days or 90 days, you can retarget them with an ad and they're more likely to engage with you the next time. Here's an example of SEMrush, which is another SEO tool. We spend a lot of time looking at Web SEO and other SEO tools, so SEMrush have tracked that we've been to their site and retargeted us with an ad. The Facebook Pixel Helper is a great Chrome extension tool that you can get on your browser to see whether your pixels are working and whether the events are working. If you don't use Chrome, download it just for a little test to see whether it works for you and if your pixel is connected and working. Google Ads. They're a little different to social media advertising because they're directly in the search engine. They can help drive direct traffic to your website. You can advertise with special ad formats. It's an effective use of your marketing budget because it's cost per click, so you only pay when people click on your ads. You get detailed reports of what the bounce rate is like, and once people are on your site, what they're doing. It helps you get to the top of those search results, and it's great for SEO because, as we said, Google really likes people that use its products and they really like you if you spend money with them. On average, for every $1 spent, Google Ads will generate $2 for that business. It varies industry to industry, but you can see how this can be a powerful tool. It also depends on what your Google Ads strategy is like and if your keywords are working for you or working against you. There are two types of Google Ads, search and display. I'm going to play this video to explain a little bit further about how these work.
People often confuse search advertising and display advertising. So what's the difference, and why do you need them both? Search advertising is a type of paid advertising that gets your business found on search engines. Search ads allow you to reach consumers when they're searching for your products or services in your area. Based on specific keywords and geographic locations, these ads will show on search engines above or below organic search results to increase your visibility and hopefully get searchers to click to visit your website. Display advertising is a way to grow your brand's awareness online. Display ads are shown to your target audience when they're surfing online, but not when they're actively searching for your product or service. You may notice display ads at the top of news sites or on the sides of e-commerce websites. Search and display advertising work together to improve your brand's awareness and get users to learn more about your business. You can build awareness through display ads. So when a searcher sees your search ad when they're ready to make a purchase, they may choose you over your competitors. Learn more about digital marketing with ReachLocal at reachlocal.com.
So now we know how display and search ads work. Here's an example of what a display ad looks like when someone's browsing on a website. And similarly for search ads, you can see 4 different plumbing businesses have all done Google Ads for plumbers in Hobart, Tasmania. Since they are all plumbers in Hobart, this is a great keyword for them to rank for because they're going to get that qualified traffic that are looking for plumbers. There are several components to a Google ad. The keywords are really important, and how you optimize them are even more important. If you're using lots of long tail keywords, making sure that they're exact matches. So if you do a broad match for a long tail keyword, you can end up ranking for terms like what are, when we're wanting to rank for what are my options for. You can see how it can be quite costly if people are doing these broad match keywords and people are clicking on them, they're paying for no results. Your targeted audience is equally important. If you're a service-based business that's in a location and you can only service people within that location, there's no point doing an ad Australia-wide. Your budget, that's also really important to put caps on these because Google will just charge and charge and charge unless you put a limit on how much you want to spend. So make sure that the cost per click of these keywords is low enough that it's going to give you some return and you're not going to go above what you want to spend. The start date and the duration. So pick whether you want this to be a short-term trial, if you want to have a go for a month and see whether you get any results, or whether you want it to be open-ended. The click-through rate is also a really important metric to have a look at. If you're showing up for keywords with your ads and people aren't clicking on them, that might say to you, well, is this actually worthwhile me doing an ad for this keyword? You want to make sure that it's qualified traffic, not just any old traffic that isn't going to buy from you. Here's a screenshot of the keyword planner within Google Ads. You can see that it gives you a graph on what the average monthly searches are, so that can help you plan out your ad strategy for different times of the year. And it also shows you what the range is for how little it's going to cost you and how much it might cost you for a cost per click. These depend on how competitive these keywords are, how many other people are trying to do ads for them. You don't have to be running any Google Ads to use this keyword planner. It lives within Google Ads, but you can use it to help you decide any blog strategies or any other page posts. Here's a clever example of doing some Google Ads for certain keywords. The keyword here is telecommunications ombudsman, and Telstra has actually done an ad for got a Telstra complaint for that keyword. It's a clever way to recapture this market to make sure that they can deal with it before it gets taken to that next level. It's not uncommon for people to do Google Ads for their competitors, which is why you might be looking for lawyers and you might see a list of many lawyers in your area. Some resources and tools that can help you with your SEO and website traffic journey. Google's Digital Garage is a great place for you to learn a little bit more about Google's products. They teach you how to do Google Ads and how to optimize your site best for Google. They're short 15-minute courses teamed with week-long courses, so pick the ones that are going to work for you. YouTube will be your best friend when you're trying to learn how to do Google Ads or new tools. There's a video for everything, and no doubt if you've got a question, someone else has had it too. So have a look at these tutorials and see if you can find out that information you're looking for. If you're still having trouble with your Google Ads and you just want to speak to someone, there's a hotline you can call. You're assigned a Google Ads specialist that will help you from start to finish of your campaign. Thanks for watching this presentation on how to drive traffic to your website. If there's any other resources or information you need, check out the Digital Ready website. And if you haven't had your 2 hours of free mentoring with a digital coach, make sure you give the hotline a call or have a look and book your online appointment. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the digital landscape.